Pieces of Purpose is a bright and a joyful segment on Women's Worldview. By listening to the content of this segment, we begin to feel better. We want to relive. We want to look forward to life. Many viewers love this segment. It is hosted by Ms. Zohaira Sultan, who is an internationally acclaimed life coach. Yes, she's always tied up. Yes, she's a traveler. Yes, she consoles people, and yet she comes to our studios to film her series. Let's view Pieces of Purpose for this week.
Good morning, friends. Thanks for joining me back here on Pieces of Purpose. A couple of weeks ago, we touched on the subject of commitment, and I really wanted to revisit this topic and go a little further in depth about this with all of you. Last time we talked about giving commitment a chance, committing to another person. However, today I want to talk about self-commitment. I have to credit Tracy McMillan, who was the first person to really bring it into a clear perspective for me. Despite all the self-development work as a life coach, as a mentor, it was her coining marrying yourself that really cemented this concept for me in terms of its importance and role in forming healthy relationships with others. Many times when we start thinking about marriage, it's oftentimes when we start feeling this void in our lives. Not just the loneliness, but a feeling of hollowness. And it takes those great famous lines like, "You complete me," to have us believe that we need to find the other half of ourselves through someone else. So what would it mean for your relationship if you found your other half within yourself and came to the other person as a whole? Marrying yourself. You commit to yourself completely, vulnerably, until death do you part. You recognize that there's no circumstance, no being, man, woman, child, job, that can happen to make you more complete because you already are. It may feel selfish to think of it this way, but saying, I am dedicated to caring about myself, it's life altering. Being consciously aware that you exist won't let you break up with yourself and disconnect. Tracy describes it as taking vows. You will marry yourself so that you love yourself right where you are. You don't tell yourself that you will love yourself when you weigh less or have a better job or a higher degree. When you marry yourself, you walk down the aisle and you tell yourself, loving myself where I am is the only way to get to where I'm going. And for better or for worse, despite life disappointments, it doesn't matter. You agree to stay with you no matter what. This one is especially challenging for us because it also requires us to not escape and fall into those dark places of shame and judgment. We're always so hard on ourselves. And actually, when we go into this place, we're really hard on others too. In sickness and in health. This means being compassionate to yourself, forgiving of yourself. A mistake isn't a failure unless you don't grow from it. Those places where we've been and where we've had to work the hardest to gain emotional and spiritual resilience is oftentimes the same place where we can give more from. Those circumstances give you the place, people, and situations to develop what you're looking for. And when you survive the challenges, you learn to take care of yourself and to recognize strengths you didn't know you had. Make a list of things you judge yourself for. And one by one, cross them off as you repeat, I forgive you. I forgive you. This allows you to actually see the things you blame yourself for, to move forward from them, or even to recognize that it wasn't even true about you. To have and to hold yourself. You love yourself unconditionally, the way you want someone else to love you. We go into relationships hoping to solve this emptiness, this incompleteness. And the truth is that you will not feel serenity without loving yourself. When you love yourself, you become capable of loving in a whole new way. You can love others for who they are, right where they are. The perspective is not about pleasing others, but recognizing your own worth. You start paying attention to how you feel about yourself around others instead of worrying about how they see you. If we learn to not run away from our own emotions and challenges and actually stick through it, then we've practiced what it takes for that relationship outside of ourselves to succeed. A simple exercise in learning not to run away from ourselves is even taking 12 to 24 hours to disconnect from our electronics, TV, phone, computers. Doing this periodically allows us to sit with our silence, to listen to what it is that we need, want, and can or not, or are being challenged to do. We know we are experiencing the power of that in that we can't be broken from what others do or don't do for us because we aren't reliant on their knowing, completing, being, and accepting. Getting here is being committed to letting go of judgment, of definitions. It's saying my best and anyone else's best is the best. When you get to this place of clarity, you've learned how to be present and available. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Facebook, Sohaira Sultan at Pieces of Purpose. Send in your questions and suggestions. Till next time, take care and remember, stay committed to yourself. Thanks.